our feature presentation is actually the perfect feature presentation that you can have for a horror podcast. So, June the 6th was Robert Englund's birthday, and apparently it was Robert Englund Day, which is really cool. I never would have thought that Robert Englund would have his whole day, and maybe it was only a certain subset of people who thought that, but still, it was trending on Twitter for what that's worth. So that's really it's been a while since we've covered a documentary on here. It seems like it's been a while at least, but
It's been a
we're
minute.
covering one that I think that at least the subject absolutely deserves to be covered. Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story, is it's what it sounds like. It's a retrospective of Robert Englund's career. Now, just this isn't a spoiler warning. This is just a straight up warning for people. If you're wanting a Nightmare on Elm Street, like in-depth retrospective, like a review of that, this is not that documentary. Check out Dreams Never Sleep. It's like 4 hours of
It's really
awesomeness. It's really, 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 really good. This is completely about Robert Englund, and it's not just about Freddy Krueger.
good.
Robert Englund is I mean, for genre fans, I guess specifically, but really good actor. But in this, I think the thing that stands out the most about him is how well spoken he is, and not that he comes off as an idiot, but you know who he reminded me of? I don't know if you're going to believe me. He actually reminded me of you. Or you remind me of him. Maybe it's a better way to put it. But
All right.
the way his storytelling is really engaging and interesting, and how he can go from talking very high language. He can elucidate very unlike I can't. He's very well spoken, but then he can get really down and dirty and just be really goofy and funny and
Cuss a lot, yeah.
cuss and just say stupid shit. Super engaging though, which makes for what is a long documentary. It's a horror documentaries are always long. But this was actually short for a horror documentary. It's like 2 hours, but it makes it go by really quick. Super interesting to listen to Robert Englund.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I don't know how true all that is, but especially if I listen back to this podcast. I don't know.
I didn't say you have better stories.
No, I definitely don't have better stories. No, here's the thing. These kind of things are really hit or miss. It's like reading a biography book. Like it either hooks you and you're in for it for the whole book, or you're not. And just exactly how charismatic this guy is, how eloquent and just downright charming he seems to be, and self-deprecating and all of that he just seems like a person that is just super fun to listen to and talk to, and that's really important when you have to do that for the next 2 hours and 10 minutes. But super good. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, a running theme of this is two words that you had mentioned: charisma and charm. He just exudes charisma and charm. The charisma you get from people who are like, oh man, I met this guy, I talked to him and I could listen to him forever. And then the charm is how he handles even his fans. And he talks about, now this documentary is set up, you think it's going to be set up like every other documentary, like it goes all the way back to when he was born, and you figure you're going to get like, okay, we're going to talk about 15 minutes of his childhood, another 20 minutes of his high school years, and then we'll get into his Hollywood career or whatever. There's a little bit of that, but it moves really quickly. And early on, you get a chance meeting he has with Steve Allen, where Steve Allen was spoke very highly of a performance he gave, a random performance he gave at a summer theater. And even though Steve Allen's name is never mentioned again, you can tell what impact that had on him, because anytime he talks about someone, like, there's no gossip, if you're in it for the tea, this is not that documentary. Like, he speaks very highly of everyone, and everyone speaks very highly of him. And that goes to the charm that you're talking about. He just has and he has like a photographic memory.
Yes.
He remembers everything, and he speaks so highly of it.
Yeah, no, it's kind of incredible. Like, I'm always amazed that there are these people that like, it's weird. Like, I feel like certain subsects of my memory are like that. Like, I have these great snapshots of stuff when I was a there's like in my college years, maybe there's a reason why those are more fuzzy, but like, he has just incredible recall and knowing kind of exactly, and maybe he's embellishing, I don't know, but like, it's like he's remembering exact quotes from and like, you can see he kind of like flashes. He's like, oh, actually, I remember what he said exactly, and he'll tell you these things, and he's believable. And like, none of it seems like here's the thing that I think made it really just a joy to watch, is he never ever seems full of himself, ever. ever, ever, ever. And I think
Right.
that humility and that little moment that he had with Steve Allen, like you said, like it is pervasive throughout the whole movie because you're constantly hearing how Robert took his time out to talk with an actor or a filmmaker, or he took his time out to help, kind of guide people along throughout his career. And that says a lot about somebody, that is willing to, that's all we have. Our most valuable commodity is time. And the fact that he took that time to talk with younger folks, and everybody just has nothing but great things to say, because he was not only fun to be around, he was like teaching the entire time, which, man, what an incredibly rare thing to be nice, smart, and into fucking helping everybody else around you. These are rare people. And it just so happens that this guy, and we've barely talked about Freddy, because that's really a minor, it's not, I don't want to say a minor, it's a major part of his career. It is his career, but
Right.
it's a minor part of who he is as a person. And you get to see exactly that in this documentary, and I thought that was just really engaging.
One of my favorite things, and you had mentioned it, is how humble he comes across.
Mm.
He's an actor, so of course he has a little bit of an ego, but he is constantly reminding people that, yeah, I'm just this character actor, and he doesn't say it in those terms, but he's just talking about how he had this small role in V, and he did the most with it. Uh, Freddie, like you said, is pretty much his career. That's what everybody knows him for. But post Freddie, he's been a victim, he's been a
Mhm.
hero, he's been in these straight to video movies, he's been in flops, but he talks to them and everything. He got something out of all of them. And there's no like, well, if the studio did this, nothing like that. It's this is what I did. This is how we did it. And it's just, it's very humbling to hear him listen to it. And the another part of it is he just seems to be enjoying life. Like
Totally.
he acts and he lives his life. He's married. There's no kids. Does what he wants. And that's something that you should throw in someone's face, really.
Totally. Yeah.
But he doesn't. He's just
No.
talking about his life, and he's a very charming, affable. Like
Yeah.
this is one of my this is one of the better actor documentaries. I've seen a lot of documentaries with actors and musicians because of the things I love the
Oh
most,
yeah.
and this is easily one of the better ones.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a special, I don't know. I think the horror genre is incredibly lucky to have had him, all these years, and being kind of an ambassador of the horror community at conventions and stuff. And like, you really think about some of our favorite, and like, I wouldn't say Nightmare on Elm Street's like my favorite shit. It's not. Like,
Right.
I have reverence for it, and I love it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But do I take time out every year to watch them like I watch, Evil Dead or Reanimator? No, hell no, I don't. But there's something to be said about like there's a certain type of person like Bruce Campbell, um, that kind of that have been in the genre, and I think if it weren't for, I don't know where the genre would be if it weren't for Robert Englund. It's an interesting question, man. It really is, because when you as the documentary kind of gets into like his later stuff, and like even like the Freddy versus Jason, and like and they're interviewing Kane Hodder and stuff, and it's just he's had this trickle down, and it really is. And like there's a point in the documentary, I don't know if you felt the same way. It's like, well, there's no fucking way that you bagged the leaves for John Carpenter in Halloween, but like, yeah, I think he did.
Yeah,
so
he did. Mhm.
so like that, it's insane. So it's really hard to picture 2023 in the horror genre without Robert Englund and all the great things he's done. And I think this is just it's a great glimpse into just not only that, but like the what it takes to be a character actor. It's incredibly hard work. You hear him talk about doing stuff from a few years back where he's doing auditions, like Robert Englund. You're making Robert Englund audition for your stuff, like he
And
still
he's
has
not
to,
getting
and
roles.
he's not getting roles,
And we'll
which
throw
is
it out there. Stranger Things turned him down.
strange. Yes, incredible. Which I guess they brought him back for
They
the
brought him
last
back
season.
around, yeah.
They threw him a bone, but like, come on,
Yeah.
man, let's get Robert some work.
Yeah, and you mentioned John Carpenter and Halloween. One of the things that they and there's some really cool stories out of
There
this
are.
too. So one of the things is how Robert Englund was always like in the orbit of these. He eventually started and became his own classic, but he was in the orbit of like you said, Halloween. He was so close
George
to being in
Romero, yeah.
George's Star Wars, like a really
Yes,
great
right.
story. He auditioned for Han Solo, and he knew he wasn't going to get the part. And came across the Luke Skywalker script and gave it to some dude who
Markel.
would always hang out at his house.
Yeah.
Like, and he's working on Galaxy of Terror, and the art designer is throwing away shit. That dude is James Cameron.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's he's this year. So for my entire life, it seems like all I hear about was people who they look down on genre, or people who were in genre. And Barbara Crampton's kind of turned in recent years, but
Mm.
for years and years she did not like being called a scream queen, and she was not very fond of the genre work that she had done. But this year I have two really, really positive memories of. Robert Englund thinks very highly of genre film and genre fan, and he absolutely loves what he's done in his career. The other big thing I saw this year was when Jamie Lee Curtis won her Oscar. She's saying thank you to everybody, and then she says, thank you to all those genre fans who watched all those genre movies that I made, which is super awesome that there's actors out there who have a respect for, the pawn scum like us. Watch this movie. Another thing that really comes across in this documentary is how much Robert Englund loves cinema, just in not just that he's an actor or that it's made him millions of dollars. Like, he is a movie fan.
Totally. And the extreme movie fan, like he's like one of those like history books where he just knows everything. And I think his like reverence for cinema and just acting in general, stage, he makes a really interesting point about why he moved away from stage, because he was like, it was all drama.
Yeah, it was all drama.
This is really funny. But yeah, I mean, I like that. And like I think you can see how seriously he takes the role in I loved Eaten Alive. Like, I love the little clips of that, and just how different he's being, and just like the man is obviously just really into the craft of acting, filmmaking, cinema. I don't know, does he have any directorial credits? He does. Let's see.
He did
Holy shit, he directed 976 Evil.
976 Evil. Yes.
Wow,
He did
dude.
976 Evil. Yeah, yes. I was gonna say they talk about it.
That is, they do. That is a very unique movie.
It is.
We should cover it, actually.
We should actually. It's not a bad idea. Eaten Alive, I actually saw it in theaters a few years ago at Dismember the Alamo. That was cool. I want to say it was the first one that came out. For me, there's two takeaways. One is that it's all shot on a sound stage, and it looks like a sound stage. Like, I don't know what Toby Hooper was thinking. Like, I think he was trying to do the exact opposite of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He needed to call Steven Spielberg to help him out, I guess.
And okay, well, he did end up leaving this one before it was finished. So, but the other thing I remember, and everyone knows the Kill Bill. My name is Buck, and I like to fuck. Like, but that's not the big thing to me. Like, the first scene of Robert Englund is literally his crotch, if I remember.
I think that's right.
That's how you're introduced to Robert Englund. But and then he tries to have butt sex with a prostitute. He's just not having it. But in the documentary, he says like this, he did Eaten Alive back when his default was goofy cowboy guy, and that's what he is in Eaten Alive.
Totally goofy cowboy guy.
But he comes, there's like this, even then he's sleazy and he's gross, but he's really charismatic, and you like him, and you shouldn't like him. He's a piece of trash. But what would become Freddy, and Buck and Freddy Krueger are totally separate characters, but what Freddy Krueger would become, you can see very early in Robert Englund's career. Like the seeds are there, and it's really cool to see that evolution.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. And the fact that he Freddy's its own thing. Freddy's is its own entity, and it's pretty rare that well, it's not pretty rare, but like it's not always that you see an actor just totally lose himself to the role and just not have to be Robert Englund, and not have to, you don't need to see his face to, and he totally sells himself into being Freddy. And there's an awesome, it's awesome that he could do that. I think it shows what an actually great actor he is. He's actually really, he's inspiring, man. He's one of those people that, like, he didn't do what his parents wanted him to do. And, he's like you said, he kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. And I find it really cool. I just I want to have a I want to hand Robert Englund a beer one day. I want to do that.
I would really love that. This documentary does a great job of making
Yeah,
anybody, you don't have to be a nightmare or horror fan,
totally.
anybody who is into acting really like this makes you could just be watching this because it's just someone else is watching it. You'll want to meet Robert England
Hmm.
after watching this. And really like we touch on it here and there. Like you can't talk about a Robert England documentary without touching on Nightmare on Elm Street or talking about Nightmare on Elm Street. And this documentary, I'd say the vast majority of it is about Nightmare on Elm Street, but
Hmm.
and for for obvious reasons why, but what it does a good job of is like we said, like Never Sleep Again. That's your comprehensive Nightmare on Elm Street documentary. That's the one you have to watch. But this does a really good job of talking about the nightmare movies, but without really getting into the movies themselves. But they're talking more about Freddy Krueger, but really how Robert Englund is dealing with Freddy Krueger, and you really get his personality through it on why he why he was willing to get caught up with it, what he did, what it did for his career, and kind of leaves it at that. Even though once they mention Nightmare on Elm Street, like they kind of don't stop talking about Nightmare on Elm
Right.
Street. But it's the focus is definitely Robert. It's not even Freddy Krueger. It's Robert
No.
Englund.
Yeah, it's much more of like the goofiness that was happening during production, and
Mm.
anecdotes from the actors that were or production cinematographers that were working with him. And yeah, I mean, is it about Nightmare on Elm Street? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not. It's much more of the fun behind the scenes kind of stuff that that I was hoping we would get in this, and we sure did.
Yeah, it was, and I thought it was pretty cool because we've talked about it on this show a couple of times. How because we're both Scream fans, and we've talked about how, yeah, Scream is your first like meta horror movie, but the first one that really tried it and it didn't work so good was New Nightmare, and they actually
Yeah,
bring it up in here.
yeah,
I was like, well, that's pretty cool. That's something we've
it is
talked
cool.
about before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, the final thing that, and not so much in regards to the documentary, but it is something that we've talked about a lot on the show in recent weeks and I guess months. But this documentary is coming to Screenbox,
Mm,
and Screenbox is becoming more and more enticing to me with
yeah.
each passing day. Like those of you who have Screenbox, and definitely this is going to be on there, so look out for it. But this is a very good advertisement to get. It made me want to try Screenbox out, honestly.
Oh yeah, I mean it. Yeah, if you've been holding off on your screen box, endeavor, you now's never better time. Terrifier is on there. This is on there. Screenbox is, and like the thing I like about Screenbox is they're kind of dealing in more grime. There's a little bit more grime on Screenbox than there is on Shutter, um, and I think that's cool. And yeah, I think I might become a subscriber relatively soon.
I think Screenbox. Now, Shutter's awesome. I'm not.
Shutter's great.
I will not talk bad about Shutter. I
No.
love Shutter, and I think every horror fan should have Shutter.
Hmm.
But Screenbox to me is kind of like if Shutter is AMC, then Screenbox is like the Alamo. It's like
Yeah.
it was created by horror fans and it's curated by horror fans. So you're right. It's a little grimier, a little dirty. There's deeper cuts on there.
Hmm.
The Terrifier movies are on there. Cubes on there. Um,
Uh,
Creepypasta is on
oh
there. Yeah,
yeah,
we
that's
just talked
right.
about so all jacked up and full of worms. So
Oh yeah, it's
it's
there.
it's a very, and then they have lots of from the American Genre Film Archive, which Tinterio, which we covered on here,
Oh
the
yeah.
shark movie with an orgy in it, or the orgy movie with a shark in it. It's not on Screenbox yet, but it can show up there at any time. So
Yeah.